Thank you very much for coming as Karibu. Welcome, bienvenue. The Girl Child Project is a project of Imago Dei Fund. We work at the intersection of faith, gender equality, and community development. We facilitate these courageous conversations for community leaders and faith-inspired change agents to discuss the many challenging issues that we face today. We welcome all at this table. Very quickly, just a few housekeeping rules. First of all, sorry for the delay. We've been working on connections. Thank you for those who have been trying and are actually getting through. Thank you. Feel free, please keep yourself on mute. Feel free to put your comments and questions in the chat. We'll take questions at the end of our conversation. Thank you so much for coming. For more information about the Girl Child Project and our reading journey, please check our website. We actually are very excited because we're going to have our first journey meeting on September 20th. Please join us. So at this stage, I would like to sort of talk about why we're here and what the conversation is all about. And it's about the Kenya reading journey, but it's about more than that. It's about local leadership and its impact, its potential impact, its real impact, and the difference that it makes. Globally, there is a growing recognition that Global South community leaders, often labeled as local leaders, hold the key to effective and sustainable systemic development. In Kenya, the Kenya reading journey is an illustration of the many reasons why. How can the power of local leadership best be leveraged? We are honored to host chiefs and assistant chiefs from Kenya. And at this stage, I'll be introducing them later, but first, what we do, we want to welcome Reverend Dr. Patrick Musembi, a member of our network, the founder of the Kenya Reading Journey, because Reverend Musembi, we have some questions for you. First of all, could you please tell us why you chose to adapt the reading journey in Kenya and to engage the chiefs and assistant chiefs? Please tell us, could you please tell us why and describe also the duties and the responsibilities and, should we say, the power of these positions?
Thank you, Mary Rose, and thank you for everyone that is joining on this call. It's exciting to have all of us into this meeting. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So like my colleague has said, the Girl Child Long Walk reading journey is a self-paced exploration of the ebook that was set together by this organization, the Girl Child and Our Long Walk to Freedom, putting faith to work through love to break ancient chains. And over the course of this journey, participants who go through this program discover the historical roots of patriarchy and become acquainted with the real life faith-inspired change agents who challenge unfair gender norms around the world and learn about the deeper emancipatory current that lies in the heart of our faith traditions. And myself, as a person, I went through this journey, I think 2021, as a fellow of the Girl Child Long Walk to Freedom. And this exercise made me realize the depth and the impact of patriarchy in our communities and the urgent need to address it, and to address it by men. And I chose myself to be among those ones. This journey ignited a passion within me for community change. And I had several options of choosing people to work with. I could have worked with university students where I work as a teacher in the university. I could have worked with clergy, pastors in a church community that I lead in my country. And I could have worked with the chiefs and assistant chiefs in my own area, representing about 4 million people in southeastern Kenya. And I chose to work with the chiefs and the sub-chiefs. And the reason I did choose this group of administrators is because they are grassroots leaders within the community. In fact, government employees who are responsible for governance, they are responsible for public order, they are responsible for ensuring compliance with government policies. And they possess immense authority in their areas of jurisdiction. They can actually arrest and bring to book or to court any parent who defies the order of the government to take every child to school, including boys and girls. That power is resident in the men and women we shall be listening, talking to us. They are the people who dispense on cases on gender-based violence within their communities and any other gender discriminative practices. They are all domiciled within the realms of the chief and the assistant chief. They resolve inheritance disputes, as well as they are very well placed to recognize and to put into effect the rights of women in terms of inheriting property within their community. Actually, these men have a lot of power in our Kenyan society. They have power to call for public gatherings, to give information at will, and they are backed by an act of parliament to do that. They have right to speak in every gathering. In fact, they have the final say in all community meetings that are called within their jurisdiction, be it church meetings, be it school functions, be it funerals, be it community celebrations. They have the final say. Before the pastor or the clergy prays, the person who speaks last is the chief or the assistant chief of the area where these events are taking place. And that's a power in their own disposal, interacting and enabling them to influence the masses within their very own communities. In fact, I dare say they are the missing link in championing gender equality in the grassroots communities. I liken them to the biblical Moses, to whom God said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Exodus 3:7-10. And I want to liken the chief and the assistant chief in regard to the girl child to the present day Moses. These are the men and the women who will do the job for us, and they will turn the needle if we can engage them and give them competence and the confidence to be able to speak in communities and in groups to inspire and influence the masses. And that's the reason why I chose this category of leaders within the grassroots community to work with them. It's been an amazing journey working with them. Thank you. And back to you, Mary Ross.
Thank you so much, Reverend Misambi, because this is extremely extensive and impressive to see the scope of authority. And one of the things that I want to stress, and I want to sort of like link it to the power and leverage of local leaders. I mean, this is not something that could have happened without your connection, your leadership, your understanding of the culture and of the society, and also your desire to make a difference. So to this extent, it sort of like stresses the need to leverage the influence, the knowledge, and the power of local leaders. So thank you so much. That was obviously a very strategic decision, and one that bears sort of like a lot, that brings with it a lot of potential. Now, I would like, because we it's an honor of privilege for us to welcome the chiefs and assistant chiefs that have spent quite a bit of time with us discussing not just the Kenya reading journey, they've been engaged, but also planning this event and this conversation. So I want to welcome Chief Salome, Muthoki, Manuna, Senior Chief. I also want to welcome Assistant Chief Daniel Kivindyo. Welcome, thank you so much for being here. Assistant Chief Kathryn and Ndunge. And please, correct me. Don't hesitate to correct me if I am mispronouncing the name. I should have practiced before. And we know that Chief Patrick Kisambo Muange is having problem connecting. Hopefully he'll be able to join. But for now, we are moving forward with this conversation, and we hope to leverage not just the conversation and the knowledge and the stories that people are bringing at the table, but also use it afterwards to sort of explain to people and illustrate why they should sort of fund locally led projects. Chief Salome, first of all, thank you so much for being here, and thank you. I understand that you were the first woman to occupy this position in your community and in your country. I mean, this is blazing quite a trail, and we know that blazing a trail is never, never, ever easy, especially for us women. So could you please tell us your story and all going through your personal journey and your professional journey has made a difference to you, and all the reading journey has changed or reinforced your perspective, I should say.
Yes, thank you so much, Marie-Rose. I'm happy to be here and give a short and brief story of my life as a woman. First of all, I grew up in a community which discriminates against the girl child and which prefers boys than girls. A community.
Namwambia ni yule ndio kuja umuuzie yake.
Please, people, could you mute yourself so we can listen to Chief Salome? Collins, please mute yourself. Okay, thank you. Chief Salome, please move forward.
Yeah, as I have put it, I grew up in a community which discriminates against women and which prefers boys than girls. A community which believes that a girl who has preferred to get married is better than a girl who is pursuing education. They don't believe a woman can be employed and work instead of just staying back at home and taking care of the children and the husband. I personally, after completing my high school education, I performed so well and I was to join university, but I could not make it simply because my other 8 siblings, especially the boys, were supposed to pursue their education. So my father preferred to take them to school, and it is there now then when I lost to join education. At the age of 17 years, it is the time I completed my high school, just a few months to attain 18 years. And now a man approached my brother and my husband. The man later became my husband. I hope you hear me so well.
Oh, we hear you well. Thank you. Please.
So the man later became my husband. The man approached my dad and my brother, and he requested them that he marries me and take me to university. So my parents, because my mother passed away when I was so very young. So my father and my brother were very much happy because it was as if a burden has been taken away from them. So that is how I got myself married. I found myself in married life with three children. And now my dream to join university was killed. Just a few years, I'm happy. An information was given to me by the then assistant chief of my area that it was advertised, a vacant position was advertised for a chief. Then I did apply without.
Chief Salome, you got on mute. You have to unmute yourself. Thank you.
It's a long journey, very challenging. And the most challenge was that I was the only female lady because our government of Kenya was in the past employing men for this job because it is not a hit job. So I was one of the women piloters to be employed as a chief. And in my community, I was the only one. So that is the passion for girl child came into my heart because I could see many poor girls and women in a big problem. Now, I want to appreciate the facilitators of the girl child training, which has really trained us and equipped me with knowledge. And now I am more resolved to address these issues, our traditions, and to encourage my colleagues, men and the women, the community, about the need to support the girl child and the women at large.
Thank you, Chief Salome. I understand that, first of all, you were the only woman in your position, and that was a challenge. Your journey itself has been a challenge. So yes. We appreciate your sharing the story and the fact that through the reading journey, it just seems like there has been a connection between different chiefs and assistant chief, and it's making a difference in terms of changing people's attitude.
Yeah. I can now say that I have taken a responsibility to train and encourage my colleagues, chiefs and assistant chiefs, men and the women of my community, to educate communities about the need to protect and support girls and the women. My aim is to transform all administrators' mindset, both men and women, to embrace the empowerment of the girl child, and to ensure all girls access education, health, and they access inheritance just as men do.
Well, we know that it is a huge issue, and it's something that matters and that has an impact in every community. So the stand that you take and the network that people have been able to build is sort of like critical in terms of making change happen. Thank you very much for sharing your story and being with us today. I see that Chief Patrick is here. Chief Patrick, yes. I know that you had some connection issues.
I can hear you, madam.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you could join us for this conversation. So, Chief Patrick, I know when we were planning this conversation, you talked about some of the challenges and some of the obstacles and some of the ways that you were dealing with it and the difference that the Kenya reading journey, has made as far as your perspective is concerned. Can you tell us more about it?
Okay, thank you and a good afternoon to everyone. My name is Patrick Kisambo, Senior Chief from Kitise location. Kitise location is in Kadhonzweni Sub-County, Makueni County, Kenya. Now, to start with, I don't realize certain issues because they have been part of our culture. And when I joined the reading journey, it raised my awareness and made me realize the challenges that girls and women face in our society. So through the learning journey, I have come to find out that there are challenges which are affecting our young girls and women in our society. For example, I come from a semi-arid region where we often don't get rainfall. And I'm sorry, I can't see my picture.
No problem, just proceed, Chief Patrick.
All right. I come from a semi-arid region where we hardly get rainfall. So there are so many challenges, starting with the poverty. The poverty index we have is high, whereby it's only men who are breadwinners and women are housewives. So when men, because we don't have factories around, men go to the urban centers to look for jobs so that they can assist their families. So you find that the women left behind have no one to assist them. We have so many school dropouts, and we have so many school dropouts due to early pregnancies and early marriages. So when I went for reading journey training, I have started encouraging those girls who had dropped out of school to go back to school. I have even been going for them from their homes and taking them to school and talking to the principals so that they can allow them back to school as we look for ways of paying their school fees. Number two, after the reading journey training, I have been holding sensitization meetings regularly with my assistant chiefs. I have 3 assistant chiefs. And in the month of March, I sat down with them and actually talked to them about the reading journey, how we can assist the girl child and the women in our area. So we have been holding several meetings, sensitization meetings actually, and sensitizing women on how they can start some income business activities, let's say like rearing of chicken, and such like things. So that they can be able to take their girls to school. Again, because I've illustrated that most of the men from within have been going to urban centers to look for jobs, whenever I hold barazas, you find that the men who come for my barazas are very few. For example, in a baraza where I have 200 people, you can get around 30 men. When you go to school meetings, same case applies. You get that we don't have very many men, but I have started a plan of sensitizing the men. I've been calling meetings for men. We have met twice now, so that I can sensitize them on the need of supporting their wives and the girl child, and the need of educating their children, more so the girl child. Again, we had challenges of the religion. Sometimes back, our religion didn't acknowledge women as leaders in the church. I've held 2 meetings with the church leaders, and we have actually discussed in length, and they have promised to make sure that they support the girl child in their churches. That gospel, the gospel of the girl child in the churches. And so far, so good. We are doing well. We have challenges of we have children-headed families where both parents have died. And for example, we have the HIV pandemic, which actually has swept parents of so many children. So I have talked with a CBO, which is within my area of jurisdiction. It is known as Kitise Rural Development CBO. And we have agreed that they assist those children who have been left behind by their parents due to HIV. And remember, these children are also infected with the HIV. So this CBO has been paying school fees for them and even buying uniform for them. So what I'm saying is that the reading journey training has really transformed us and shown us that there is need to support our young girls and their mothers in matters of empowering them. I have also been talking to the women. You know, in most cases, women don't support their own. I've been encouraging the women to support their own who are in leadership position so that they can actually support them in return. You know, like we have the women in our government, we have positions of women rep. Those women reps have money from the government known as National Government Affirmative Action Fund. And through this fund, we talk to them and actually request them to assist girls in education. We also have, we are thinking of starting an organization of supplying, rather giving vulnerable girls who are in school some assistance in form of sanitary towels and soap and also pen when they are in school. Remember, we have vulnerable and orphaned children in school who don't have any assistance. So it's us, they depend on us to assist them. As a chief, I'm also the chairman of National Government Constituency Fund Bursary. So when I'm chairing this fund, normally I allocate money to the young girls who are in school and who are vulnerable, okay? So we are really trying, we have been opened up, and we have gone out and tried to support the girl child and their mothers.
I think it's wonderful, Chief
Yes.
Master, that you are doing so many different things. And, you know, sometimes it's hard for people to understand that it's like, okay, where people not aware, but it is actually a very common phenomenon in agriculture. You're so immersed and it's so normal that you don't realize sometimes, unless there is something that sort of like wakes you up and you realize it's like, oh, okay, I did not realize it. But you not only you realized it, but you took some action, which
yes,
you praise for. So thank you very much for all that you're doing. Now,
I've also, just a moment.
Okay.
During our staff meetings with our seniors, the DCs, I've been asking for permission to sensitize my fellow chiefs on the need to actually take care of the young girls and their mothers. I've been telling them to make sure that even if a girl has dropped out of school for whatever reasons, they should make sure that that girl is taken back to school. and arrangements made through the administration of the school for them to stay in school as we will look for alternatives. I've been doing that, talking to my colleagues.
I think it's fantastic, because we know that usually not only girls do not get to go to school sometimes, but that especially if they drop out for various reasons, including having to go and get water, that they are not encouraged to go back to school. So I think, you know, I mean, congratulations and compliments to you. Now, Assistant Chief Kathryn and Assistant Chief Daniel, thank you very much again for joining us. And what, you know, we have been hearing from Chief Salome and Chief Patrick about the various ways that, in terms of the impact of the reading journey, and all basically it's been sort of like an eye-opener or a way of reinforcing different actions and the positions that need to be taken. Can you tell us more about some of the actions that you've taken as Madame Kathryn? And
yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Maria Rose, for this opportunity. My name is Kathryn Peter, Assistant Chief for Kisambo location in Makindu location in Makueni County in Kenya. I want to thank God for this opportunity, and thank also the sponsors of this program for the far they've taken us as leaders. Since I trained with the girl child and a long walk to freedom, I have been facing issues boldly and solving issues to satisfaction. Actually, in our campus, custom, women or girl child at some point are treated as slaves and people without knowledge, and especially when it comes to matters of inheritance. Actually, I have a case where I would like to share with you, which I handled this year, early this year in March, where I got a complaint from a certain girl who was a total orphan. She lost her both parents while she was very young, actually at the age of 7 years. Her father died in the year in 1990, and the mother followed in the year 1992. Then the girl was raised by her marital grandparents, maternal grandparents. Then, after some time, the girl decided to come back where the father was buried, because the father had bought his own land, and he had built a house where they used to stay. Then when the father died, he was buried on that land. Then later the mother died, and she was not buried on the same land where the father of the girl was buried. The parents, the in-laws, took the mother of the girl to the ancestral land because they wanted to create some confusion. Later, the girl, since she knew there was a home, which they used to call a home, later, after she grew up and she could make her own decision, she decided to come back to his father's home. Now, by this time, the land was now being settled and occupied by her uncle, who was a young brother to the father of the girl. The girl pleaded with the uncle to accept her and maybe show her somewhere to build a house. But the uncle was not ready to accept the girl. Actually, the answer she got from the uncle was that if she wants land, she can go back to the parents, where the mother was buried, and ask for land there. Then she tried several times to come in terms with the uncle, but he was never ready. The girl came to my office here. When she came and raised a complaint, I called the uncle who used to work in the town, Nairobi by then. When I called him, the uncle was not ready to accept the girl. Then I had to summon them. I summoned the uncle who insisted that he cannot talk of any inheritance when the mother is not there. I summoned all of the family members and they came to my office. Although they took time, they didn't want to come to my office, but I didn't relent. Actually, I insisted that they should come to my office. When they came to my office, I was shocked to see the grandmother to the girl denying the girl in my presence, saying, I don't recognize this girl since our grandparents took her away from me. They mocked me. And I told them, grandmother, you see, that was not the mistake of the girl, because by that time, the girl was only a child and she could not make her own decision. And now that she is a grown-up and she can make a decision now, she has come to your place. She has come to your home. She wants you to accept her as your family. The lady was very stubborn, but I had to stand and defend that girl. Actually, the uncle had occupied the house which the father's girl used to stay. The uncle, we talked for so long, but they refused the girl. And I had first advised the girl to file a case against them. And I told them that I will make a report, and I will make sure the girl get what is entitled for her. Then after some days, they thought and called me, and they said we can have the meeting. But before we have the meeting in your office, we asking whether you can allow us to have a family meeting with the girl. I told them you can hold a family meeting, but the girl will never attend that meeting because the complaint is still in my office. I want her to attend the meeting because I knew very well that they were going to challenge the girl and maybe to make her accept very little. That land was land. Made appointment with the family. When we came to the meeting, the family members, now the extended family, were challenging the girl with a lot of questions. Why did you accept to grow up in an environment? So many questions, but I stood with the girl and defended her. I am happy now to say that after talking to them and ensuring that people must understand that land belonged to the father of that girl, and she is the only heir of that family. They got to understand, though they were stubborn, it was not easy, but I made them understand that land belonged to the girl. The girl was given her land back, and she even shared willingly only 1 acre to the uncle, who accepted, because even if we follow the law, they will be losers. And now I am very happy to say that it is through this knowledge I gained from this training that I was able and bold enough to stand with the girl and to ensure justice was given to her. I've also been sensitizing and creating awareness to the child when it comes to gender-based violence. Because I myself, I am a victim of the same circumstances. My parents separated while I was very young. Actually, they separated while I was in class 3. And my father was very tough. He was a drunkard, and he used to beat my mother in our presence. We used to run to the bushes and sleep in the bushes. And this thing, it grew. I grew. It meant a lot of pain in my heart. And whenever I see such things happen, because such cases do appear in our offices, they are the issues we handle on day-to-day activity. I do solve them very well, and I make sure the girl child gets his right. I'm also creating awareness to the women that they should have the legal documents like the ID, because without an ID, you cannot access what is entitled for you. You cannot get your right, because you cannot buy a land without an ID. You cannot even get a death certificate of your husband if you do not have an ID. And for this reason, in barazas, in every forums, even in churches and in schools, that a lady, a woman, a girl child, whenever she reaches 18 years, should acquire an ID card, so that in case of any challenge, be able to assist her get what is her right. When it comes to property, I've even seen some cases where the man is working and the woman, the girl child, now the woman is left at home our housewives. And when they come to maybe buy a property like land, you can see that the man can write the land belongs to him, one of the land that the woman enters the agreement as a witness. Actually, I'm sensitizing the culture that you should be the owner. Let the land agreement mean that so and so, if it is Kathryn and Peter, they are the owners of that land, not Peter, and I get to be a witness. No, I'm not a witness. I'm also the owner of that land. So I'm sensitizing our girl child to know what is entitled for them and to know their positions in the society and to boldly claim what is theirs. There's a lot of boldness and in this field, which I've been in it for 4 years. I'm now having my 5th year. I'll ensure that I stand firm to assist the girl child and to make sure justice prevails always. Actually, I'm having a lot of cases of inheritance. In my place, it is a scheme where people fight for land. I've been handling so many cases of land issue, disputes, and such things. And in that, I make sure that women get it. And also that I can now thank this project, the sponsors, that you didn't lose your money in training us. Actually, you train the best people. You train the right people who interact on day-to-day activities with these people and who handle issues of every concerning child. So I'm grateful, and I can.
Madam Kathryn, thank you so much, because I think you're coming in and out a little bit, but we captured the fact that you are doing a lot and taking stands for women. You're facing a lot of challenges, and that in a society where very often, women are sort of like women and girls are blocked in terms of owning land and having access to what is owed to them, that you're changing that and fighting for that. And that, so thank you very, very much. And thank you for sharing everything that you've done in part of your story. We really appreciate, all of you and what you are bringing to this conversation.
Welcome.
We also really appreciate the fact, because Assistant Chief Daniel, and I have a question for you. But one of the things that I want to say, because, I see a question here, even though we're supposed to wait until the end of the conversation, in terms of how has the reading journey changed the way you're doing your job and your support for girl children and for women? Has it changed it? As it sounded like, Chief Salome, Assistant Chief, Madam Kathryn, Chief Patrick, Assistant Chief Daniel, or has it changed you, or has it changed you at all?
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Kivindyo from Manyoni sublocation in Mutito North sub-county, Kitui in Kenya. I would like to appreciate the training. It has really changed me. Before the training, I used to feel things like the other ordinary men. But after first and second month of training, I come to realize that our people, our girls, are totally discriminated. Their rights are totally abused. But now I've come to realize that I must take full charge, and I have been doing that, to eliminate cultural traditions which are pathetic, which deny the women their rights. And the first discrimination was in terms of education, because you could see a man or a family whereby a girl has passed very well, but denied the opportunity to join the high school. In this case, I've already and decided fully to ensure these girls, they are taken to school, they remain in school, and try as much as possible to get the support, the enough support to ensure the girls remain in the school. At the same time, I have already created awareness that our children, our girls must get equal opportunity as boys. And I'm doing this by meeting their parents, their fathers, telling them how important an educated girl can bring to the society. I also remind them the top-notch leadership. Like now in our country, we have a lot of ladies. Like in our judiciary now, we have the president is a lady. I've been meeting these old men and reminding them their girls can actually achieve the full potential as our Chief Justice. Even my own DCC is a lady. And by so doing, they are responding positively to what we are telling them. Because before, they used to oppress, they used to deny our girls the right for education, the right for ownership. But now, I'm happy to report that this training has changed me. It has also changed our people. And I'm happy that majority are coming to us, or they are coming to me to get to get the information, the needed information on what to do. Like these old men, we have our old men who strictly believe that the rights, the girls have no rights. But given the fact that we are in authority, we are now changing them gradually. And some of them, they are now happy and willing to take full responsibility to ensure that their girl child are educated and they receive equal rights as men. I've also tried as much as possible, like for those girls who had already dropped out of schools. Personally, I went to the high school where they were already called. I spoke to the principal of the schools so that they can be given an opportunity, another chance to study. As I mobilize the people of our community to raise funds and pay for these girls, I've also invited, and I've been invited people in the leadership, like people in authority, like head teachers who are ladies, and tell them, come that we support this one, because in the future we want to see a lot of girls being free, walking free-born people, and realizing their full potential. I am a serious advocate for the cases of rape. Before in our area, a girl could be raped and nobody would take care. They would be assumed as a normal thing. But now I'm working closely with our police to ensure those perpetrators, they are brought to book, they are charged, and people have come to realize that we must take full care of our girls.
Well, This is priceless. This is priceless, Assistant Chief Daniel, because it's about safety, it's about mental health, it's about education, it's about the future of the girls. But now, the question that I have for all of you, as we have, you know, a few minutes, I mean, I am, you know, and I want to thank Reverend Musembi for giving us sort of like that framework and making all of us who may not be familiar with the structure and the societal and the governance structure of Kenya, how important your positions are. But now, my question is, we're only talking, I mean, the change is amazing, because what are we talking about? Millions of community residents that are impacted by that, you know, in terms of that. But on the other hand, what about the policies? What's next? Chief Salome and Chief Patrick, you have talked about influencing and talking to other chiefs and trying to sort of make them realize that they need to support the rights of children and women. But, you know, you have a larger governance structure. I think, like Chief Patrick, you talked about, sometimes we women don't support our own. So,
Yes,
yeah. And we all know that it's true. And that's part of the problem. So my question is, how could we change the policy? How can you have a lot of power, change the policies? What's next? How can you influence? And that's a question for Reverend Musembi too. How can we spread that change so there's more justice?
If I can answer you, I have been talking to my national member of parliament, my local MP, and requesting them to, you know, to make some laws whereby orphaned and vulnerable children, girls included, can be exempted from paying school fees. Yeah, so that they can get they can get their full potential. Those are some of the inputs we are making with the elected leaders. We are also talking, engaging the MCAs. MCAs are those elected leaders who actually control the wards. I have been requesting them to actually make sure that there is some food and some beddings for the orphaned and vulnerable children, mostly those ones who are infected with HIV/AIDS.
That's wonderful. Chief Salome, I see you.
Marie, the policies are very clear. All female
can you come closer, Chief Salome, because we're not hearing you well.
Yes. Clear that.
No, you're on mute, Chief Salome. You have to unmute yourself. Okay. Yes.
You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. Now, what I can say clearly is that policies in Kenya, especially the law of succession, is very clear that both female and the males have equal rights to inherit land, to inherit estate of their parents. The law is very clear. But the problem is our customs and the fact that women themselves are not aware of their rights. Big percentage of women do not know their rights. And even if we teach them and we educate them about their rights, they are still brainwashed. Like myself, I was brainwashed by the culture. Even when I was an administrator, yes, I know my rights, but then I was in a position of respecting the culture more than the common law. So you see, even about the early marriages in Kenya, although it is something which should now be put away, you will find that still the early marriages are there due to the poverty. Our girls come from a very low background, poor families. And because of the poverty in our areas, it encourages girls to get married very early. Like now, when it comes to defilement cases, know about where to report when a girl is defiled. You will find out that, like for example, in my sub-county, Mala sub-county, due to this of the girl child and their rights, you will find that now because we do report, the cases are so, but where people have not been sensitized, you will find that few cases are reported. Not that the defilement is not happening. It is happening, but the cases are not reported. Why? Because of the culture and the traditions. Can you imagine, even some of the people, when we are educating people, some of the clan members, and they are people who are educated, they usually say, these chiefs who are educating for girls to get inheritance from their parents, they are brainwashed by the Western culture, which is not true. I frankly tell them, it is better that this person is brainwashed by the Western culture, but it is not Western culture, it is the law. It is the law. And every human being has a right. So you will find out that even people who are aware of the law, they are defiling the children. Why? Because they feel their customs supersedes the common law. And they believe common law is applied in the urban areas.
You got on mute. You have to unmute. I know it's the signal. We're listening to you, Chief Salome.
I am very happy because at the training, our colleague men, you remember me asking you, are you men, because we are training with you people, are you ready to change as men? Because you cannot be agents of change when you have not already changed. You remember my colleague chiefs at the training. You were also very adamant to change. You felt
we are not undermined.
For a woman to inherit land, it is not possible. But at the end of the year, I thank God and I thank you men, because we were boarding the same boat and we were reading from the same script. It is so unfortunate because our community, as we talk, we have clan members or people who are still educated. And as I have put them, they are valuing more the customs more than the common law.
And this is pressure, Chief Salome. Thank you.
Because we are privileged due to our positions. The government trusts a chief. Any information given to the government by a chief or assistant chief, the government believes, and the power of the government is with the chief and with the assistant chief. In every meeting in our areas of jurisdiction, there is no meeting which is held without the knowledge of a chief or the assistant chief. We are being called and we are invited in different meetings. And I personally, I ensure, even if the agenda is far from a girl child, I make sure whenever I've given time to give a speech, I cannot end my speech without mentioning the girl child and the protection to women and girls. That is the best thing the government of Kenya is doing to us. And we are in the forefront. And I thank God because when we started this journey, our supervisors give us time to talk to our fellow chiefs and assistant chiefs. They are always happy because it is something they were not aware of. And I want to thank our government, Kenya, because it is at the forefront to protect the girl child and the women. The law of succession is very clear. It is us. We are given a mandate to identify beneficiaries to undeceased estate. And we make sure, we ensure we list all the beneficiaries, including the women. I want to ask my colleagues, let us train women and the men at the same time. Let men see that a girl is not just a girl. A girl is your daughter, is your mother, and is your sister. Do you want your sister to be treated fairly, or you want your sister to be discriminated? If you want well for your mother, if you want good for your sister, if you want good for your daughter, let us all move forward to support girls and the women in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Salome, for speaking truth to power, for taking the stands that need to be taken. I mean, we have heard from all of you, and it is a challenge. And we know that policies can exist, but if people do not take stands and they do not implement them, no change will occur.
It is so unfortunate. I can share just something little about my own family. Where I grew up, as I've quoted before. My own brothers, as we talk now, they have sold 10 acres of land. And it is inherited as girls. My father is now deceased. When I try to intervene, my brother, a whole teacher and is educated, he is telling me, no. Women have no right to inherit land. You got married, go and get land where you are married. And the law is very clear. You cannot inherit your father's-in-law estate. It is only your biological father where you are supposed to inherit. So it is not a easy task. It is not a easy task, but progressively, we will get there. We will not tire. We will train more chiefs and assistant chiefs. We will train more community members. And I am sure with the time, the females and men will be equal. That is our cry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure and a privilege. And all I can tell you is that you give us the hope that things can change. You hold a lot of power and you're ready to take stands. The reading journey has helped you, but on the other hand, nothing would be feasible and even possible without your decision to make a difference and support girl children and take some action and some meaningful action. And this is what we're talking about. And I want to thank Reverend Musembi again for his initiative and his strategy, and something that someone that wasn't Kenyan would not necessarily would have thought about, and if they had thought about it, would not have had the respect, the network, and the knowledge that Reverend Musembi has. And this is the difference between investing into locally led initiatives, making a difference like everything that you've talked about, and trusting outsiders to do that. I really want to thank each one of you for not only being part of the program, but taking your time out of your very, very busy and stressful schedule to plan this conversation with us and to be here with us. I want to thank all of the different people that have joined us. And a special thank you. Emily, do you want to say something? Ms. The one who sort of like helped to birth the ebook for the reading journey. I just want to give a special kudos to Emily Nielsen-Jones. Emily, do you hear us or are you off? Or she doesn't want to be traveling.
Hi everyone. This is Emily. Wow, what an incredible journey you have been on, an incredible presentation. We are so honored to hear your stories and just over the moon. We all, like Marie Rose said, we all have to lean in and do our part to change these global norms that really are inhumane and not conducive to human flourishing.
I know Emily is traveling. Thank you, Emily. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And thank you to all. And we will
Maria,
yes.
Maria,
yes.
before we leave, I want to appreciate you on behalf of the whole team which was trained. And I want to tell you that, as you know, Rome was not built in a day. We are now ready to go out and preach the gospel. You can believe us. We are going to become TOTs and train our colleagues and actually spread the gospel. We'll not sit down and see the girl child being, mistreated. I can assure you, we are going to do our best, with or without facilitation. God, service to mankind is service to God. We'll be paid by God, and I want to assure you that we are going to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, your thoughts, for sharing your stories, and for your commitment to your communities, to the girl, children, and women that you are serving. Thank you for your leadership.